we have the Indian Chief. This is going to be the 116 Thunderstroke. I have to say, I love that paint color. I do like the red a lot better, just because the red gets the dark horse engine treatment. The one that we have here is going to be the Chief 116. This is going to have the Thunderstroke. The Thunderstroke has 120 foot-pound of torque, and the best thing about it is going to be that you get that at 2,900 RPM. In the front, we're getting a 19-inch tire. It's going to be a single disc. It's going to be a 4-piston caliper. You're getting 5.6 inches of travel in the rear. As we move around, you're going to get 5 inches of ground clearance, and we're going to go ahead and move to the back, and we're going to get a 16-inch tire. It's going to be belt driven, and you see that you're going to have dual air shocks, and it's going to have a single disc. It's going to be a dual piston caliper. As we walk around the bike, you're going to see that you have the nice leather saddlebags. You have the 116 proudly displayed over here on the air box of the motorcycle. You're going to be able to see that you get the Indian Chief proudly displayed on the side, and it's all nice and chrome. So you get all this chrome coming together. It looks very nicely. It's all going to be LED. One small detail that you might notice, you're going to see the Indian brand name over here in the middle of the headlight. LED headlight, turning signals, and as we walk around the bike, you're able to see that it all flows and comes together. You're not going to get the big brake light that you typically get in over here in the middle of the fender. You're going to get dual brake lights, and they're also going to act as your turning signals. As we move up here, and I'll show you, here we get the 4-inch display from Indian, and this is going to be basically the ride command. So you get 4 inches, you get different displays, and I'm going to go ahead and walk you through that. We're going to scroll down. You're going to see you get a different perspective regarding your clock. So you're going to get the gear indicator, fuel range, your odometer, and your RPMs. If you don't like that, you go ahead and you go back, and you're back on the more classic look. You press over here, and you're going to get your riding mode. So you're going to be able to ride in Tour, Standard, and Sport. Depending on which setting you're going to get, it's all going to be dependent on the way the computer is going to go ahead and adjust the throttle response. So in Sport mode, it's going to be more responsive. Tour is going to be less responsive. You're able to either do brightness manually or just do auto. And what the motorcycle is going to do is going to go ahead and, based on the light, it's going to go ahead and adjust. If we go here, we're going to see that we have your gauges, which is where we were. You're able to select which information you want from the bike. So you have your outside temperature, battery voltage, economy, and your range. We go back. We're able to see that it's going to give information regarding your ride. If you want to start a new one or pause it, you can do that. If not, you go ahead and X back over here. So if you want more information, you have the odometer. It gives you your elevation, your distance. But basically, it's going to be very simple and very intuitive to use. We go back to the main menu. It gives you the ability to use the Indian ride command, which is going to be the map. So this map over here, when you buy the bike, it comes with a 1-year subscription. After that first year, you have the ability to go ahead and either renew or just let it lapse. But as you can see, you're going to get a lot of information. You're going to get a compass. You're going to be able to see where you are by pressing the dot over here. It's going to show you where you are by the arrow, and you're still going to get your miles per hour and gear indicator. If we go back, we're going to be able to have the option for music. I don't have anything connected, so I'm not going to bother. And you also have the ability to do your controls. If you go into your controls, you go back to your main menu. So let's say we're done. You could go, you press back over here, and you go back to your gauges, and guess what? We're back into the main screen. So as you can see, it's going to be very simple to use. It's going to basically allow you just to be able to use it on the fly and learn it very quickly. We're going to have cruise control, so you go ahead and you press down. You're going to see over here it's going to turn on, and then when you're at speed, you're going to set it or reset it depending on what you want. And again, you either press your brake or your clutch to disengage, or you could just go ahead and turn it off like that. Alright guys, we're up and going here now. So you can definitely feel that low RPM torque of the Thunderstroke 116. You give it a little bit and you feel already the bike moving. It's gonna have the torque at 2,900 RPM. For those of you that know vehicles, low torque, or basically torque, is what gets your vehicle moving. Having 120 pounds available to you at 2,900 RPM is going to get you off the line quickly. Horsepower numbers is going to be like mid 70s, but you got to remember, this is a huge air-cooled V-twin, so the big thing right here is going to be your torque figures, which we have 120 pounds of torque, so it's going to move great. You're going to feel the weight of the motorcycle if you're not moving. The wet weight is going to be around 740 to 750 pounds. Wet is going to come at 710, so you know you have a heavy motorcycle. So something to think about if you're not comfortable with weight, or you are not sure if you're able to handle the bike. It's going to be over 700 pounds once you have it either with no fluids or completely loaded. It's very simple to use. As I showed you guys earlier, Indian did an excellent job showing you the right command and how it works. The ability to give you different riding modes, especially if you're not very comfortable with all that torque from the get-go, is going to make it a lot easier for you to get accustomed to the bike and be able to get familiarized and then be comfortable and be able just to tour with no issues. One thing that I like about it is going to be the fact that you don't feel that very heavy vibrations that you typically get from Harley's air-cooled motors. So it moves, the vibrations are very minimal, but they're there, but they're not something that you're going to be surprised or you're going to be kind of upset because they're vibrating too hard. I know some people actually enjoy the vibrations. I'm not one of those guys. So right now we're cruising at 53 miles an hour. We're doing 2,000 RPMs, and you still have enough power to get the motorcycle up and going, and even passing power, which is something that's pretty surprising. As you can see, this is going to be a low revving machine. It's going to redline already at 5,000, so most of your power, as I said earlier, is going to be low in your RPMs. One great technology that Indian has going for them is the fact that they have the rear cylinder deactivation. So once you come to a complete stop, you're able to, depending on the ambient temperature, the temperature of the engine, the rear cylinder is going to go ahead and deactivate, which is going to prevent all that heat that would typically transfer from the engine rear cylinder to your legs. Is going to go ahead and reduce that. So here's our first start. So as you can see, Indian has the 4-inch display here. It's going to be completely electronic, so you're able to see your gear indicator, and it's all going to be touchscreen, or you can basically toggle between you're going to be able to toggle over here to your left with the controls. It has cruise control, as you can see. We're going to go ahead and show you real quick. So you press in, you're able to see the cruise control automatically turn on, and just like you would in your car, you're going to go ahead and just put set, and there you see you're going to have it set. So if you want to come to a stop like over here and it's going to disengage, you press your brake and automatically it's going to go ahead and turn off. The one downside that it has is going to be that you have a smaller gauge, but then you got to think about you have a motorcycle with those classic looks, so you're not going to have these huge gauges, or the huge, the bigger display that you're going to get on your Indian, like for example like the Challenger or the Roadmaster. So this is going to be a more subtle, more classic look, so you're keeping the round gauge. It's still giving you all the information that you need. It's just going to be contained to the 4-inch display. One feature that I have to say that I thoroughly enjoy about this display is going to be the fact that you're always going to have your miles per hour indication is going to be shown at the top, as well as your gear. So we're in second gear. I'm going to show you right now. We're going to third, so you're going to see that your gear indicator is going to be shown right there. So we are here over here to our left, guys. This is going to be Main Street Daytona. So this is basically where pretty much like all the shops, and where basically the all Daytona bike weekend Oktoberfest used to happen. Now it's more towards Destination Daytona. we're gonna go ahead and leave it here. So I don't know if you're able to appreciate it through the video, but the gauges are very, very responsive. Watch, I'm gonna give it some gas. If I let it go, honestly, it's very responsive. I know some screens like this, you know, like, boy, it's all digital. There's gonna be like some lag. Obviously, it's not gonna be anything that's gonna be major, but you could definitely see that it's very, very responsive in the terms of being able to be very accurate when it comes to acceleration and deceleration. Not being able to max the bike out and see what's the top speed, it would be a safe assumption to think that the motorcycle probably does around 100 miles per hour, which again is going to be plenty fast for what the motorcycle is intended for. I have to say that I like the fact that they went with a 19-inch front tire. I know if you look at, for example, if you look at some of the other cruiser bikes, and I believe it's going to be the Sportster, you're going to have a 16-inch front tire, which, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not bad, but a bigger front wheel tire is going to give you a better handling, a better feel for the road. So if you notice earlier, we have different riding modes. When we put this, when we put the Indian Chief in sport mode, you can definitely feel the difference in the way that the computer is mapped to handle the motorcycle being in sport mode. So let me go ahead and change it here. So let's put it in standard mode. In standard mode, what it does is just it changes the different it changes the mapping, so the throttle is not going to be as responsive, so it's going to be a little bit slower. Now if you put it on tour mode, that's going to be even slower than that, so that's why we're not going to go ahead and do that today. The Indian Chief is going to feel at home if you're riding between 55 to 60 miles an hour. As I was going up in speed, you could definitely feel like a more vibration coming from the motorcycle. Obviously, it's not meant to be ridden like that, but it's nice to know that you have that power, if you need to, available to you at your disposal. There's going to be a 4-gallon tank. Given bikes in this size, I would comfortably say that you might have like a good range of perhaps between 120 to 140 miles before you have to refuel. I like how easy it is for you to go through the gauges. I mean, you can see right here, I mean, it's going to be very simple, very easy to use. And as you saw there, putting the Chief in standard mode definitely gave a more subtle throttle response. As you're going to see down here, it's going to be forward controls. As you can see, there's going to be my brake. We're going to have our shifting over here, so it's going to be forward controls, but you're going to have that standard upright sitting position. What do I think about the Indian Chief? I think that it's a great motorcycle when you look at it from the perspective of price point. The basic model, the entry model, starts around $13,500 and it goes all the way up to $21,000. You have cruise control, you have 3 riding modes, you have a 4-inch display which is going to give you all the information that you need. So it's a motorcycle that has the classic looks of a vintage cruiser motorcycle, but you're still getting all the new technology that you need, or that pretty much is expected now from, you know, the newer bikes. So I think it's a great package. It's going to be kind of a stiff competition for Harley Davidson because they have an American-made motorcycle that is basically fighting for the same territory. So guys, if you enjoyed this content, just give it a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on my next video. One thing that you'll notice is I am 5'10". I'm completely planted. This is going to have a 26-inch seat height. So if you're a rider that's going to be on the short side, you're going to be able to, you know, flat foot this motorcycle with no issues. So, which is something that many riders take for granted. Having the motorcycle being so low to the ground like this one, you only get 5 inches of clearance. While it might minimize your lean angle, for a short rider, it's going to give them confidence because you're able to flat foot the motorcycle, and it's going to avoid or minimize the risk of you dropping the motorcycle, as it often happens with new riders. So if you're a short rider, the Indian Chief will do great.